Hello, good afternoon, everyone. And for those who are watching from different time zones, good morning or good evening, wherever you may be. My name is Marilyn, at least for the first time who's watching us today. I'm the founder and CEO of Customized Training Solutions Private Limited, or CTS, Asia's most trusted training and business solutions partner. And we have created programs that adds value and impact for leaders in order for you to stay relevant, adapt to the next normal, and ensure performance of a hybrid team. And that includes this interview. And today, it's my great pleasure to introduce our leader. Tulia Lopes is a communications architect. She helps leaders to break barriers and build bridges with effective communication. As a seasoned communication expert, she has spent over decades of helping leaders across different industries to elevate the impact and achieve exceptional results. She has recently been nominated as the Vice President of Professional Speakers Association in Spain and is in her role she is committed to bring more voices to stages globally. Tulia believes that every single person has a story to tell and every story needs to be shared in such a noisy world. It is vital to be able to communicate with clarity, confidence, and charisma. So our stories can have a ripple effect and impact in many lives. So without so much further ado, I'd like to bring in Tulia. Hi, Tulia.
Hello, you there in Singapore. Greetings from Barcelona.
Oh, you're in Barcelona, Spain now. I thought you are in Germany today.
No. Since last September, we are here in Barcelona.
Oh, wow, wow. Yeah. So thank you so much, first of all, for accommodating this invitation. I have been receiving your amazing emails, and I got
I
curious
hope
with
not too many.
not too many, just nice. And that has actually, I have been wanting to like reach out to you, which I always forget until I read through that recent email of yours around leadership and communications. And just for the purpose of I mean, I just came back from a 2 weeks project. Not really so much of a holiday, but it somehow it is. Yeah, I've been to the Philippines, Manila and Boracay to run some program, and I really felt like a VVIP guest at Alta Brisa in Boracay, where we actually stayed. And they are actually our client running leadership program and team building at the same time. So I just want to say hello to them and thank you um, for like your amazing participation, and also we really had a successful program with them, so thank you, especially to my friend, their GM Jalal. And just to let them know that we get to know each other through the same mentorship program. And yes, we're continuous learners,
Yes,
both in the same mentorship program with Kane and Alesha, right? So that's where we get to like know each other. And here we are today. So again, thank you for accommodating me. And to get started, I have introduced you earlier, but if there's anything more that you'd like to add, please feel free to let us know more about you and your leadership experience.
no, I think you said it all. But yes, leadership, I can say that leadership is my passion. Once I understood the importance of taking the responsibility of leading our own lives and how much these changes the quality of relationships we are able to attract and build around us in the positive level.
Wow, I love that. I love how you started your introduction with really having or taking leadership of our lives to change our lives, right? And so I'm just curious to know, like based on what you said, who are your actually your influencers? What is your favorite leadership style, if you do have any, that leads you to define what leadership is for you today?
Is well, I find difficult to define one or two. There were many, and because they were in different stages of my life, people who I came across through books or videos, interviews, who influenced me. And I can start with the ones that are most known because they have been on the road for many, many years, such as I say the first one that was the turning point for my life was Stephen Covey with his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That
Mhm.
book for me, as I call my Bible, because it was really an eye opener for me. Then I got to know John Maxwell, of course, with his hundreds of books published,
Mhm.
and a person who calls much about the service leadership.
Mhm.
And I would say that this is what I feel more connected with the leadership, the service leadership. What is that? Because leadership, in fact, is a given. It's about to give to others. It's
Mhm.
about you have to work on yourself first. It starts from the self leadership, but then from there is a place of giving, is a place of opening doors to others, is a place of helping others to unleash their full potential. Because you know for yourself, it's very difficult to coach oneself.
Mhm.
We have so many blind spots that it's difficult for us to see even our talents. And I believe that is the role of the leader. The true leader is there to guide, but also to build other leaders. And that is about service.
Mhm. Wow, that's amazing. I really love how you put it together. Despite that, yes, we both agree that it's kind of difficult to define leadership, right? It's one, I would say, one of the most difficult questions that I ask first, like
It
to
is.
define leadership.
And
Yeah.
I don't know for your experience, but especially with women, which is my target market, although I do work with men now and then, which I love it, but
Mhm.
I'm committed to help women on leadership. And if I may, I wrote this book, Leading High Heels, many years ago, 2015, with the intention to using the metaphor of the heels because I love high heels and using that as an step, like you start with your flat heels, your wedges, then you go to high heels, and when you really master, you use your stilettos heels. So that was the process of this leadership in talking to women, because what I find is women shy away from the word leadership.
Okay.
It feels like sometimes it's a burden, not only for women, but I'm talking about women because it's my main market. And when leadership is part of our lives, is what we do. We are leading all the time because we have to make decisions, we have to negotiate, we had
True.
to yes, to move forward, and we cannot move forward without stopping, thinking, planning, negotiating, and etc. And I always say we should embrace leadership. We should embrace the self leadership and not be afraid of it.
Exactly. And I again, like, not only us, but a lot of people, even Kane has been like sharing with us whenever we have live sessions, right? That hey, where how many women's do we have here? It's time for you to step up, right? And that's about leadership and sharing your story as well to the audience, to the people who will also benefit, right, from those stories that you will share with them. And again, like what you've mentioned, it's about negotiating, needing to plan, needing to embrace leadership ourselves, right? So thank you so much also for sharing the book that you have written around leadership, especially for women. And again, it's an invitation for everyone to step up, to leadership, right? It's about time. And before I ask the next question, I would like to invite everyone, especially those who are watching us live, to join us in this conversation. This is not just about me and Tulia having this conversation
Absolutely.
on leadership. Do join us, ask your questions, share with us your takeaways along with this conversation. And so that leads me to my next question. I mean, in my introduction, I made mention about staying relevant. I made mention about next normal. So, from your experience as a corporate leader before and working with leaders, especially women, what would you say would be the top three problems that they normally face?
One of the big problem women face, I would say women, is self-confidence. And they rely too much on it. They have this need of getting information, it train themselves to
Mm-hmm.
feel to feed their competence and in because they lack this the confidence.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that you not have to feed your competence, that you don't have to acquire skills. However, there is the time where you acquire skills, but you have to implement the skills and you have to take ownership of what you have done. This is what I talk about leadership, because when you're a leader, you're also taking risks. You're taking responsibility. My
Mm-hmm.
thing here keeps popping out. I'm going to take it out. And you have to take responsibilities. You have to put your face. You have to show up. And many are afraid of that. So they shy away. So this is one big challenge, the lack of confidence, the imposter syndrome. But in a way of the effectiveness of leadership, I think the major problem for every professional, all
Mm-hmm.
industries, genders, levels, etc., is
Mm-hmm.
communication, is not having good communication skills. Because for me, communication is the foundation of everything you do. And now, even further, I'm talking more about the conscious communications. I'm bringing this topic more and more into my conversations, that you can say mindful communication, but I find mindful even more subjective than
Mm-hmm.
conscious. I think it's easier to understand more conscious than mindful, but
Mm-hmm.
although are aligned. And this is for me the biggest challenge ever, because once you communicate with clarity, expressing your ideas, and knowing and feeling and and understanding that knowing that the other person is understanding your point, that
Mm-hmm.
also feeds back to you and that boosts your confidence. So the biggest challenge, in one word, communication, lack
Mm-hmm.
of or miscommunication.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything more that you'd like to add other than self confidence and communication skills that you just mentioned just now?
Confidence, communication skills, and
Mm-hmm.
I think it is the one challenge for leadership is not being able to take action fast, like
Mm-hmm.
being someone solution driven. For a leader, you need to be solution driven. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot be doubting all the time. Of course, you need to, maybe you need to ask others, which is also good, other opinions,
Mm-hmm.
different views. But at the end, if you are leading a group, you're in a position that you have many people under you, you're the one to face, to put forward that decision and face the consequence as a representative of that group. So that maybe is the reason many times that people refrain from, or not refrain from, but sometimes take too long to take a decision.
Well, thank you for summarizing and identifying these top three problems, which I'm flashing here. And I would say that, like from the articles that I have read before and have written before, in fact, communication is one of the top leadership skills that most are challenged of, right? And I would say it's a process, right? We have communications here, and you've mentioned if you know that your communication skill is really good, then that goes confidence as well, and that goes taking action. Right? If what you've said could be a process, that's how it is. Right? So thank you for sharing that with us. And I'm just curious to know, based on what you've said, right, how we know that part of having good communication skill is really having that clarity, right? Presenting yourself, and again, like what you mentioned, to be able to show up as a leader, right? So would you share with us some tips as well? Because obviously we don't want to leave them with all these top problems that you just shared with them, and
Yeah.
later on, yeah, you will have to like share with us more on the important skills as well. So go
Yes, it's
ahead.
important that when you wrote there the top problems, they are not really what they're the problems. It's like not having those skills, it leads to problems, I would say.
Exactly.
Um, and your question was about what we can do to show up with more as more
Exactly.
confident, right? I
Yes.
believe everything starts from the self.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot give what you don't have. And I find that sometimes in organizations or even individuals tend to think that a problem is out there, it's not here. And while you're thinking the problem is out there, and even Stephen Covey says that is the problem. When you think the problem's out there, that is the problem. The problem always starts from the self, from your way of dealing with the situation that you are facing. So, my big tip, my big, what is the foundation of everything I do in my work is work on the self, working on the person to understand where I'm standing now as a person, my values, my principles, and then understanding your way of communicating with others, which will also represent your way of leading others. We all have our different ways and our favorite ways. And sometimes you might be in a role where your favorite way, your more authentic way of leading might not be aligned with the role you are in. And there is a misalignment that can lead to big problem, frustrations, etc. So then but if you're self aware, you might be able to change the circumstances, the context where you are, or if that's not possible, take the decision to move forward to another
Mm-hmm.
situation. So, back to your question, is the big tip is you have to work on yourself. You cannot every time there is a problem, don't see the problem out there. Think about how am I perceiving this problem? What is exactly the problem? Because we perceive the same problem in a different way. And then find the tools. How can I find a solution for this problem? Or who can I help me to find a solution for this problem? So, but this is only starts, you can only ask those questions to yourself when you have a strong self awareness, when you develop that self awareness that where I'm staying, where am I right now, and where I want to go with this in this current situation.
I really love that reminder. And again, it all starts with self awareness, right? In order for us to know how to respond and how to address things going on around us, right? So, thank you so much for that very important reminder. And I just want to, oh, hi, Cywer. Thank you for watching us live. Um, And do join us in this conversation if you have any question. And I hope to see you again soon. Yeah. So thank you so much for that response. I really love that reminder, because sometimes, like, we tend to blame a lot of things around us, or even people around us, not really being mindful that actually it's how we respond and how we address all these things, right, that matters most. So thank you again for that reminder. And my next question is, what are the important leadership capabilities or skills that you must have in the next normal to continue to lead more effectively?
Mm. The next normal, you refer to this new AI revolution that's coming up, that's all over, that they are going to take over the world, and we are poor humans will be somewhere pushed to the corner. Is that the new world? Maybe. Well, I would say, starting from the self, active listening is, to me, the number one, and one of the most challenging,
Mm-hmm.
very difficult to master,
Uh-huh.
because we have too many information in our head, and there's too many distractions. And of course, especially in situations of conflict, I just wrote about conflicts today,
Uh-huh.
and we instinctively put ourselves in the defense mode because we feel attacked, we feel in danger, and we stop hearing. This is natural, it's physical. So, active listening is extremely essential to be a successful leader and to be a successful person, because we tend to, while you're talking to me,
Uh-huh.
most of the cases people are, and Stephen Covey is the one I'm mentioning him again. He says that people listen to respond, not to understand. And while you're listening to this, to respond, listening
Mm-hmm.
to respond, what happens? You are not really listening. You are formulating your question, your answer there, but you're not really listening. And this is where the problems happen, the assumptions, the misunderstanding. So, active listening is the first one.
Uh-huh.
Then, after that, ask, reframe, ask what you heard to make sure that you understood correctly, because we have to come from the presumption that many people don't really know how to express themselves, especially if there is tension, if there is a conflictive situation, because there's a lot of emotions going on, and the person might say something without thinking first. And if you don't ask to make sure you understood correctly, you might escalate the problem because you assume something. And I have another quote that I share with you, because it serves me very well, which is, assumption is the mother of all fuck ups. We can never, when we assume things, we, most of the case, 99.9999%, we will go into trouble. So this asking is the second one. And being able then to find a third solution. It's not even about the win-win, because win-win can be also danger, because win-win means I compromise, you compromise, and when we compromise, there's always this part of us feeling like I'm missing out something. I left something out, and I'm just trying to compromise here. I always go for the third alternative, which is, let's see with what you have and what I have, how we can build something together, how we can solve this problem together. So, and this goes into adaptability. So, active listening, asking questions, which means then you have to have extremely good communication skills as well to formulate your questions, and but really ask with the intention of understand, not just to reply. and then be adaptable for
Mhm.
new ideas, for new perceptions, for new ways of seeing things. Understand that everybody sees the world in a different way, and we perceive things in a different way. We understand things in a different way, and find a common way to move forward.
Wow, I really love how you summarize it. Like, it's really an aha moment for me that, with what you've shared. I mean, like, active listening, yes, it's kind of like one of the top challenge among the communication skills, right? I've heard that so many times. And one of the silver linings that the pandemic has brought about in our life is about listening, because like when you're virtually uh in a conversation or in a virtual training or a call, right? You really have to listen, otherwise you will cut the other person. That's where the club clubhouse, is it clubhouse, came about as well, right? And that's where like more and more of us actually get to practice how to listen. And it's interesting that how it sounds so simple, and yet it's the top challenge for most leaders, right?
Absolutely. And I tell you what, in a Latin American world, I'm in Spain now and I'm a Brazilian, so
Mhm.
it's even more difficult because the way the culture is, we always speak at the same time. There's no such thing of you speak, then it's my turn to speak. Everybody's speaking at the same time. And sometimes when you look from outside, you wonder, how do they understand each other? Well, I would say there's a lot of trouble. And my husband, who is German, he sometimes, when I'm talking to my Brazilian friends, and we have our WhatsApp group that we have our conversation, sometimes he moves away because he said, I cannot understand how you can have even a conversation. This is not a conversation for me.
I think I think that's a female power as well, because I while you were sharing your story about your conversation with your Brazilian friends, right? I remembered one time my daughter also said the same comment, like, mommy, I don't understand how you understood each other. You're so good at cutting at each other. I have
Exactly.
another friend from Myanmar, based also Singaporean but from Myanmar, and we always, whenever we talk, we were like so excited about seeing each other and like telling the stories for like a few months or even a year of not seeing each other. And so like we, because of the excitement, I guess, like we started to like, I want to share this, I want to share that. And
Yes.
you had the tendency to like blur it out, everything, right? So that's why my daughter said, I'm so impressed with how you understood each other.
And if I may add a little one point on that, that socially, especially for us people who have this way of communicating socially in families, which is great, makes it very lively, which is socially is good, even if sometimes we don't really understand each other. But it's a social environment that's not really, in most of case, not really serious consequences.
Yeah.
And in our work environment, we have to be aware. Then comes again self awareness, self leadership, to be aware that you are in a different context. And in that context, you have to adapt to your behavior. I'm not saying here that you have to change, become another person. Far from that. You have to find your person in that behavior, how you can use communicate the best of you as a person in that behavior. And you might have to learn how to speak slower, which is the way I'm speaking here with you. It's not my way of talking naturally, but I know I need to speak slower. This is part of your training. You have to find the best words to express yourself. I always tell my clients, start building your own vocabulary, especially if English is not your native language. You need to find the words that you connect with them, that you find that they really express what you want to say. And this takes time. And this is a conscious exercise that
True.
you have to put in practice. And if you are in leading position, you have to put some kind of systems for yourself for you to overcome certain barriers. How do I make myself more clear? How do I exude more confidence that people feel like they can trust me? Because communication is about building trust. And as a leader, trust is number one. I
Exactly.
cannot really follow you if I don't trust you. I might follow you without trusting you if I'm under pressure somehow. That might happen in certain organizations, that you have a leader that nobody is not really a leader, but everybody has to, in a way, to follow because of the system, how the system is created. And this is one big problem we all have. But true leadership, true leader is the one that you want to follow that person because you trust. You trust that person. You trust the support is there. You trust this person is listening to you. Everybody needs, is it our most inner need as human beings, to be seen, to be heard, and to be understood. We all need that. And as leaders, we need to be able to connect with our teams, our followers, the people that are supporting us, and make them feel that they are seen, that they are listened, and that they are understood. That for me is three key points for leadership.
Wow, thank you for reminding us with that. And that's interesting. The reason why you also made mention about asking question as one of the leadership skills, right? Because sometimes we tend to be like, or most leaders, traditional ones especially, tend to like direct, direct, direct.
Tell, tell,
So
tell, like this with the finger
tell.
down.
Exactly. That's why they forget to ask more questions, right? And again, that goes to the third point that you have, which is the third alternative, right? Nowadays we cannot do that anymore, especially in with the young generations that we work with, right? You really have to ask them, you really have to hear them, and you really have to encourage them to participate, right? And that requires for you to ask questions other than listening, and like finding that alternative or best alternative for everyone, right? And that requires flexibility and adaptability, like what you've also mentioned earlier. So thank you so much. This is a really beautiful message, and that's why I really love as well the conversation around communication when it comes to leadership, right? So thank you so much for all those reminders. And with that, I that brings me to my next question, that if you have a magic wand and can use it, what will you do with it?
Oh my God, such a big power comes with a lot of responsibility. If I had that magic wand, I really would like to be able to help human beings, the humanity, to focus on the goodness in their good potential, on their potential to do good things. Because even with technology, with everything that happens to us, sometimes I'm browsing there in the Instagram, just my moment of relaxation, browsing there to see funny things, to laugh about people. And I find amazing, amazing, amazing how creative people are. They come across with the most outrageous things in terms of creativity, in
Mhm.
challenges, but also in the most outrageous things in funny ways. And that is amazing. And also how they overcome challenges with technology, what they can build with the technology, with that knowledge they have. And in the other side, we have a world so still full of conflicts, poverty, lack of education, which with all of this potential that every single human being has, if everything we would focus on would be, we will focus only in building good things. In whatever field I feel is my talent, in whatever field I feel like I'm giving my best, that would be my magic wand. Because saying like, let's focus all in building good things and enjoying doing that. And I
Wow.
believe we have the potential for that. But somehow human beings as being human beings and humanity being in history as it is, there's always some way that there will be a problem there. But I think we have potential to be much better, give much more, build much, um, improve much more our planet than we are doing that now, but we still are doing, and many people are doing. I believe in my way, in my work, my contribution is helping others to feel, to unleash their potential as leaders through communication. And that is my way of improving the world. My drop in the ripple effect. I truly believe in that. Other people have different ways. So my magic one would go for everybody focus on doing the best with their best talent.
Thank you. That's really amazing. I really wish you have that magic wand, but again, like what you said, right? Even without that magic wand, in our own little ways, hopefully it creates impacts and some ripple effects that will bring good things in our lives and also the life of other people around us or listening to us, right? Because at the end of the day, I would say that we all have the opportunity to be able to create a better world to live in, like through the work that we do, right? So thank you so much for that. And before we end this conversation, is there anything more that you would like to leave our audience with?
Mm, If I may say to your audience out there, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. We are not here on holidays. I would say this planet's great. It's great to be on holidays, but I do believe we all have an important mission, even if it's not clear. And I don't think we have to be obsessed also. What's my mission? What I have to do? We just need to, one day after the other, keep learning, doing our best to keep growing, doing our best to keep serving, helping others around us, taking responsibilities for what we do, because that is part of the learning process as well. But above all, believe in yourself, because you don't need to do everything on your own. There will be people there ready to give you a hand, like myself, like Marilyn. In what we do, we are always ready to give someone a hand. But the most important thing is that you believe that you are important, because you are, and that you have an impact in this world. And take ownership on that and enjoy it.
Thank you so much. I really love that message. Believe in yourself. And I think that's what a lot of people do miss out. Sometimes when they make mistakes, they fail, they sometimes forget to believe in themselves, right? So no matter, again, like what you've said, it's a learning process. We all go through that, and it's really us keep on going, right? And keep on believing in ourselves, that will help us to get through to our mission, to our purpose, why we are here in this world. So thank you so much for that beautiful message, Tulia, and thank you so much for those who are watching us live today, and those who will watch us on a replay. Thank you so much. Feel free to share your takeaway from this conversation, or if you have any questions, I'm sure Tulia will be glad to answer those questions, follow up questions. Um, after this, even after this conversation. So again, thank you, Tulia, for your time, for your insights, and thank you everyone for watching this. And again, remember that even the richest investors in the world would say that investing in yourself is the very best investment you can ever have or ever make in your life. With that, we would like to leave you with this quote from Dolly Parton, that if your actions create a legacy that inspires others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, then you are an excellent leader. Thank you for being an excellent leader for us today, Tulia. Have a nice day and stay safe, everyone.
Thank you
Bye.
so much for having me. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and have a good week ahead.
Thank you. Bye for now.